Today in the Stash shop marks the launch of the Stash sticker shop, and Froggy, Moggy and Doggy are there ready to go. So if you fancy grabbing some of these stickers either individually or you can buy these 3 in a pack, head over to the website and you can treat yourself and pick these little guys up. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem. Today I am back with the May Scrawler box and it's time to tackle the Scrawler challenge, which was flowing figures. I feel kind of off my game a little bit just now, and I've been back and forth a few times about what I wanted to do. The idea that I have in my head and the one that I'm actually going to execute, I feel kind of goes against the wonderful and bright and vibrant colours that we have been given in the Scrawler box with these peerless watercolour sheets. I also want to thank everyone for their comments about the best way to use these, and a lot of people cut them up and make them into little pads and all this kind of thing, which is great. I mean, that's a lovely idea. It just seems like an awful lot of work to me, but then again, I don't travel and paint a lot at the same time, so I'm loving your resourcefulness and all the different ways that you are using these, and it was really nice and interesting to read about those in the comments. I think the struggle with deciding what to do with this prompt, a lot of it for me was to do with the fact that the prompt is clearly trying to push you towards drawing a human. And for me, I don't really like drawing humans. It's just not my thing, really. So, yeah. Anyway, I've decided to just go ahead. I was trying to pick something that would have a little bit of colour in it, something a bit exciting, and I realised I was just making things difficult for myself. So I'm going to go with my original idea. It's basically going to be a face in a waterfall. So I'm looking forward to using this Junkie Monkey pencil. I'm quite excited about this. With its lovely retractable eraser, which we talked about previously. So I'm just going to get the idea sketched out here. So this is the paper from the box. This is the watercolour paper that came in the Scrawler box, and I've just taken a sheet out and taped it down onto this bit of card, which happens to be the lid off of an Artful box, but why not? So I'm really looking forward to using these supplies. I've got my little yellow kneaded eraser, which I'm in love with, and also this paintbrush as well. So because the main body of my image is not going to have a huge amount of colour in it in terms of all these different, you know, lovely bright colours that we've got, I'm going to try and incorporate some of those into like the periphery of the image. So I'm going to start here just by putting in a sort of like a cliff face type idea. I mean, I can make this as loose as I want, it really doesn't matter, it's not important. And then I think I'm going to have some trees poking out here, and I'm going to have a nice sky. I'm probably like a sunset type sky, so I can incorporate some of those colours into that too. And then the actual main part of the drawing is going to be in the waterfall here. So it's important for me to get these sketch lines in just because I don't draw a lot of faces, so it's kind of important that I spend the time and kind of concentrate the most here. I'm not really one to shy away from things like this, you know, I always take the challenges on and, you know, really give them my best shot, so it's just not something that I would necessarily draw, you know, off my own steam. Is that fair to say? I think I'm happy with my proportions. I'm not convinced about nose, but most of the work here I'm going to do with the paint. So I'm just going to lighten these sketch lines up. It's important that I keep these though, especially for the actual face part, because it's obviously something I'm not that well versed in. Okay, so I've got the Bismarck brown and the ecru colour here, and I've just added a little bit of water to them, and I'm just wanting to mark in some of these rocks at the side here. And I'm going to give this up around this area here because there's going to be spray at the bottom here from the waterfall, so I'm just going to let that kind of fade out on its own. And this brush is delightful. I'm really enjoying this brush. A lot of you have talked about these brushes in the comments under the unboxing video, saying that you like them also. I have to say I'm a fan. And while this is still damp, start to add in a little bit of this Bismarck brown. So I'm being a bit more careful now where I'm putting my strokes here. And then just softening that out a little bit with the damp brush. So next I'm going to work on this sky. So I'm going to do this as a wet and wet. So I'm going to do a little bit of a wash here. And then I'm going to grab some very watered down turquoise. Splodge a bit of that in. And then a little bit of the, whatever, Arley's or Marley's Opera. I never quite found out what that was actually called. And we'll just plonk this in. And again, these paints are really good at just kind of like doing their own thing, especially when there's a good bit of water down. So we're just gonna let that do its own thing. Make sure that's nice and subtle. I'm quite tempted to add in a little bit of the heliotrope as well. It's quite a strong purple colour, but if we go easy with it, again, while this is still wet, we get some pretty delicate bits and pieces going on here. Give us a nice gentle background. So we're still using quite a lot of the colours, and while this is damp, I'm just going to scrunch up a little bit of my tissue, and I'm going to just lift out some of these areas here to give us a nice subtle sky there. So we are involving quite a lot of colour here, even though we maybe not necessarily want it to be super bright. But I felt it would be a bit unjustified to not use all these colours, all the colours. So that's what we're going for. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to grab this neutral tint as well and slap some of that in to one of our wells here. And I'm going to use this to darken down some of the areas of our cliffs here. Okay, so next step is we want to get some trees on the go, and I'm feeling the mountain green in quite a concentrated format here. Okay, so for the actual face part now, and we've got some trees and things on the go, I am going to be using the Alice blue in combination with the neutral tint as well. I really want to get lots of contrast. And this may or may not work out, but I'm willing to risk it for a biscuit. So to start off with, I'm going to grab a little bit of the turquoise from before. Really water down and really want to build this up. I'm just going to start to mark in the areas where I want everything to be a bit darker. So by doing it in this light shade first, obviously this is something that's not necessarily my wheelhouse. So if we go gently to begin with, we've got a better chance of not screwing up. Now I'm going to take the eyebrow lines out, because they are essentially going to be foam. You know, as if the eyes are like rocks in the waterfall. So I want to take this Alice blue. So I'm just going to work away here on this eyebrow section, or above the eyebrow, should I say. So down here, for the nostrils, well above the nostrils, I'm going back to this turquoise colour because he's going to have a mustachio. So we're kind of repeating the same process here as we did with the eyes, because it's kind of the same idea. Good mustachio. I just want to sort of indicate the nostrils here. We'll maybe deal with them a bit more proper later in a minute. I just want to pop that lip line in there, but this is all going to be pretty chaotic in here as well. We have a mustachio. This guy's kind of terrifying. I feel like I don't want to give him like big massive nostrils, but I just feel like these need to be a bit more pronounced, perhaps. My nose proportions are slightly off. My nose is slightly that way, but I'm gonna let it go. Gonna let it go. Maybe inside his mouth's a cave. Or maybe you've got to climb up the waterfall to the cave. So you can clearly see the face shape now, which is nice. Down at the bottom here, I'm not really sure what I want to do with this. I do think that I want to take this blue. I'm just going to go for it. Why not? Just going to get some of this really watered down turquoise here, like really watered down turquoise. And then while it's wet, I'm going to scrunch up my tissue and just really go for it. And I feel like I should be doing the same with this Alice blue as well. Like just wah. And then grab this tissue and just add in a little bit at the corners here. I'm really enjoying this paintbrush, and I do think I'd like to explore more of these brushes with, I think you guys call them a cat's tongue brush, is that right? I'm really enjoying this. It's a very versatile brush, and I'm very much, you know, when I do paint it, because I'm a simple creature and I don't paint that often, well, things like this anyway. Well, if one brush does everything, I'm really happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to come back down here now. I'm going to turn this dude upside down just while my foam's drying down the bottom there. And I want to do a little bit of work on this lip area. It's pressing a bit harder, getting some slightly thicker strokes. Now with the neutral tint, or what's left of it, oh goodness me, that's really what I'm going to use to darken down some areas. But in the mouth is one of those places where it needs to be right in there. So I'm just going to pop that in just now so it's got time to dry, and we'll darken that right down. Because what we are going to have to do as well, these areas in behind the rocks here, they're not going to be getting as much light, so they're naturally going to be quite dark as well. So that's something that we need to work on here as well. And I want to kind of make that quite solid in a way. You know, to really highlight the outline of these rock areas. And the tip of this brush is perfect for this. And then down towards the bottom here, I'm just going to let that kind of fade out a bit because we're fading out with our rocks as well here, so I want to try and keep that consistent as well. Okay, so I'm all out of Alice blue. Okay, so I'm feeling not too bad about the fact that we've got the sort of the main body of the painting in now. And what I want to do is just use some of the neutral tint and really darken down the dark areas so that we've got that nice amount of contrast. So I'm just going to have a dig about here. I think this might be perfect. Oh. So when I've been doing these lines, I've been keeping my paintbrush sort of quite straight up and down and trying to utilise this very fine point. And now I stopped filming earlier on. I had the physio here. I've got a really bad tennis elbow and problems with my shoulder just now. So I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to try my best to just keep everything as consistent as possible. I'm not making any promises here. I may build up some more of the other blue colours as well, but I really want to get some contrast in here because I hate this. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. I want some contrast. And this is always the lovely thing about working in watercolour. I love to work in layers, and watercolour's perfect for this because you can really, you can really go for it. And this neutral tint's just perfect for this kind of job. And we can really deepen down this crease under this eyebrow. Now we've got our foaminess going on. So the other thing I can do now here is define these nostrils a bit more. Something that I've never got used to painting, truthfully, is nostrils. They're They're not a favourite thing of mine to paint, shall we say. I think the biggest thing for me here is trying to balance the shading, you know, so that we've got the features of the face, but also try and keep the fact that it's a waterfall, you know, kind of not try and stray away from that too much, and that's not always the easiest thing to try and kind of balance out, but I think we're doing okay. Okay, I think I'm going to call it done at that. I'm quite happy that I've got enough contrast in there now. And so all that remains is to take off my tape, which is one of my favourite parts. And yeah, quite happy with how this has turned out, I think, which I'm really surprised to say, to be honest. As for the Peerless paints, I do quite like them. Is it something that I would use regularly? Yeah, probably not. And these will most likely end up in the stash shop. I know someone was looking, you know, they really like these and they like these specific colours, which were Scrawler Box exclusives. So I think I'll stick these in the stash shop and give someone a chance to enjoy them, because I don't feel as if it's something I would use on a regular basis. In saying that though, I have had a lot of fun with this. I really enjoyed the paintbrush, like I super enjoyed the paintbrush, and I think I may invest in a paintbrush similar to this for my my own personal use for the future. So it only feels right that I sign this in the this neutral tint because let's do this down here. This brush is lovely for this as well. I had good fun with the mechanical pencil as well, and also the eraser was an absolute joy to behold. This has been a lovely box. I have really enjoyed this box. The artwork wasn't as stressful as I thought it might be. Obviously not really my wheelhouse, but would like to think I've made a reasonable attempt at this today. And yeah, overall, excellent box. Thank you very much, Scrawler Box, once again, for being consistent and giving us good stuff to play with here in the cave. So that is it for today, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts on this particular prompt, and also if you had any specific experiences of your own with these Peerless watercolour sheets. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I always appreciate it. Please stay safe, take care of each other, and I will see you back in the cave on Thursday for another video. So have a great day, everyone, and bye bye for now.